Hi, welcome to Teen Pride Book Talk. This is the program on AADL TV, where each episode I take a few minutes to tell you about a young adult book that is both representative of and inclusive of folks in the LGBTQIA plus community. My name is Lucy, and the book that I would like to tell you about today is a graphic novel. It's called The Greatest Thing, and it is by Winifred Searle. This story, it takes place in the early 2000s in Maine, and it is the story of a girl named Winifred who is just starting 10th grade, and neither of her best friends will be going to the same school as her anymore. They have transferred to another school. Winifred is feeling a little trepidatious about starting school. She is pretty introverted. She does okay at school, but she really shines in drawing and photography. She's excellent at both of those. Winifred is very self-conscious of her weight, and that is important in the story in that she is lactose intolerant, and occasionally she will intentionally eat foods that she knows will make her sick as a way of either being able to not eat foods later or to maintain a certain weight. This is one place where eating disorders do enter into the story in a very realistic way, and in a way I think that indicates the wide breadth of how different people can have disordered eating. Because of when it takes place in the early 2000s, one thing that's very significant about this story is that these high schoolers do not have cell phones. They rely on landlines. And it's just an interesting detail, especially when compared with how much high schoolers and adults and everyone really relies so heavily on cell phone communication today. In 10th grade, Winifred makes two new friends, April and Oliver. Oliver suffers from depression, and April also has an eating disorder. She does not eat. And I think the character of Oliver suffering from depression and April with her eating disorder are excellent and realistic representations for mental health issues that a lot of people face. April is non-binary, and she uses she, her pronouns, but occasionally uses they pronouns. There's a wonderful discussion in the book about how April doesn't feel like a girl all the time, but occasionally she wants to wear dresses, and at that point feel like they're not being judged for wearing feminine clothes. April says, I really like dresses sometimes, but they do this thing. People look at me differently, and I hate it. It's exhausting pretending to be a girl all the time, but I really love this dress, and I wanted to wear it tonight, so screw it. And I love that April is really giving voice to this moment for what it feels like for them to be non-binary. Oscar, Winifred's other good friend, is pansexual. Oscar and Winifred, using their various artistic talents, start a zine together. This zine is a 4-part series called Gutter Glimmers, and the entire zine is actually included in the book, and there are instructions in the book as well on how to make a zine, which is a really unique feature of this graphic novel. The zine becomes a place for Winifred where she can really express herself, and she gets to a point, because she's able to express herself in the zine, where she's also able to reach out and ask her mom for help, and she gets therapy and she gets meds, and it's through the process of creating this zine that she is able to put her thoughts into words and talk to people about them. It speaks really highly to the possibilities of art. She and Oscar also use the zine as a sort of form of communication. One of them will create one issue of it, and then they give it to the other person who continues with the next issue. And it is this conversation for them about trying to figure out what their particular relationship is like. There's an expectation, because they spend so much time together, that they will be a couple, and they really do love each other deeply, but it's messy for them to figure out what the exact nature of their relationship is. Oscar expresses very obvious attraction to Winifred. Winifred wonders if she's attracted to Oscar, but in that wondering, she starts to realize that she's actually attracted to another girl in her class named Tilly. And the messy aspect of this exploring of sexuality and this figuring out the relationship is surrealistic, and there's real honesty in the storytelling. It seems reflective of true self-discovery. There are pieces about learning to manage mental health, and a lot of the coming of age in this book has to do with how the different characters relate to one another and what that tells them about themselves. Sarah Winifred Searle, the author, said that this book is semi-autobiographical. The true part is a depiction of the beginning of a journey with mental health management, and it contains the real emotional core that she felt in high school, but it's created from impressions that were left on her in high school by people she knows. She didn't want to presume to speak for other people that she knew. She felt okay telling her own story through Winifred, but the other characters around Winifred are just either amalgamations or imaginings or memories from high school that the author had. The art in this book is pretty simple in color. It has a lot of the blue tones and a lot of just neutral colors. There are occasional pages where there is more color. Some of the scenes take place in a dark room, which lends this nice pink color. I really loved the realistic depiction of high schoolers in this book. I like that it took place in a time before cell phone popularity, as it requires these characters to find another way to communicate with each other. And one of the real highlights of this particular graphic novel is the fact that there is this whole zine included within it. And as I said before, instructions on how to create a zine, which is a nice jumping off point for people who become interested in that aspect of the book. So that is The Greatest Thing by Sarah Winifred Searle. It's a wonderful graphic novel. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you give it a try. Thanks.